The London rain pattered softly against the windowpane of William's tiny flat, mirroring the melancholic rhythm of his heart. He stared at the lines of code on his laptop screen, but the vibrant city lights reflecting in his green eyes couldn't mask the shadow of sadness within. William, a talented but yet-to-be-discovered freelance programmer, had always found solace in the intricate world of software, but tonight, even his beloved algorithms couldn't distract him from the ache of a broken heart. Just a few weeks ago, he'd been blissfully in love with Olivia, a dazzling fashion designer with sunshine blonde hair and eyes the color of a summer meadow. They'd met at a tech conference. An unlikely pairing of logic and artistry, yet their connection had been instant and electric. Olivia, working for a small but up-and-coming brand in the heart of London's fashion district, had introduced William to a world of vibrant colors, bold designs, and a relentless pursuit of beauty. He, in turn, had shown her the elegance hidden within the seemingly sterile lines of code. The power to create something extraordinary from nothing. But their whirlwind romance had hit a brick wall in the form of Olivia's parents. They were, in their own words, practical people. Mr. and Mrs. Davies, with their meticulously manicured suburban garden and their unwavering belief in the importance of financial stability, saw William as an unsuitable match for their ambitious daughter. "He's a freelancer, Olivia," her mother had said, her voice laced with disapproval. "What kind of future can he possibly offer you? He doesn't even have a proper office." Olivia, initially, had defended their relationship. "He's brilliant, Mom. He's working on an app that could be huge," she'd insisted. But the constant pressure from her family, the subtle jabs about William's modest flat, his lack of a company car, his unconventional career path, slowly chipped away at her resolve. William watched, heartbroken, as the woman he loved began to transform. The light in her green eyes dimmed, replaced by a calculating glint he'd never seen before. Their conversations, once filled with shared dreams and laughter, became strained and filled with unspoken anxieties. Olivia started attending more and more industry events, networking parties where she'd return late, smelling of expensive perfume and brimming with stories of glamorous designers and influential investors. William, increasingly, felt like an outsider in her world. The final blow came during a dinner at a trendy Shoreditch restaurant, a place Olivia had chosen. The minimalist decor, the hushed conversations, the exorbitant prices on the menu, it all felt alien to William. He felt a knot of unease tightening in his stomach as Olivia, her voice carefully modulated, began to speak. "William," she said, avoiding his gaze, "I've been doing a lot of thinking. About my career, about my future, about us." He knew what was coming. He'd seen it in the way she no longer held his hand in public, in the way she'd started talking about long-term investments and 5-year plans. "And," he prompted, his voice barely a whisper. Olivia took a deep breath. "I need someone who can provide stability, William. Someone who can offer me the kind of life I aspire to. I'm sorry, but I don't think you can do that." Her words, though softly spoken, hit him like a physical blow. He felt a cold numbness spread through his limbs. He wanted to argue, to plead, to remind her of the promises they'd made, but the words caught in his throat. He simply nodded, a single, sharp movement of his head. "I understand," he said, his voice surprisingly steady. He stood up, leaving his barely touched plate of food on the table. "Goodbye, Olivia." He walked out of the restaurant and into the London night. The city lights blurring through a film of unshed tears. He walked for hours, aimlessly, the rain soaking through his clothes, until he found himself back at his flat, feeling emptier than he ever had before. The following weeks were a blur of coding and quiet despair. William threw himself into his work, trying to lose himself in the logic of programming. But Olivia's face, her smile, the way she used to brush a stray strand of hair behind her ear, haunted his every waking moment. He felt like a ghost, drifting through his own life, disconnected from everything he once held dear. One evening, while taking a break from his self-imposed exile, William wandered through Brick Lane. A vibrant street known for its eclectic mix of street art, vintage shops, and food stalls. The air was thick with the aroma of spices and the sound of buskers playing their instruments. He stopped to watch a young woman creating a mural on a large brick wall. She was completely absorbed in her work, her dark hair pulled back in a messy bun. Her hands moving with a confident grace that captivated him. She was painting a phoenix, its wings spread wide, rising from a swirling vortex of colors. The vibrancy of the image, the raw energy it exuded, struck a chord within him. As he watched, she stepped back to admire her work, and their eyes met. She smiled, a warm, genuine smile that reached her dark brown eyes. "It's not finished yet," she said, her voice slightly accented, "but it's getting there." "It's beautiful," William said, his voice hoarse. "The colors, it's like it's alive." She laughed, a light, melodic sound. "That's the idea. It's about rebirth, you know. Rising from the ashes." She gestured towards the painting with a paint-stained hand. "My name is Sophia." "William," he replied, feeling a flicker of something he hadn't felt in weeks, a connection. They talked for hours that night, sitting on a nearby bench, surrounded by the vibrant chaos of Brick Lane. Sophia told him about her life as a street artist, her passion for creating art that was accessible to everyone. Her belief in the power of beauty to transform even the most mundane spaces. William, in turn, told her about his work as a programmer, his dream of creating an app that would connect people in a meaningful way. He didn't mention Olivia, but Sophia seemed to sense his sadness, her dark eyes filled with a quiet understanding. As the night drew to a close, Sophia said, "You know, William, sometimes the best way to heal a broken heart is to create something new. Something beautiful." Her words resonated with him. He realized that he'd been so focused on his loss that he'd forgotten his own passion, his own ability to create. He looked at Sophia. At her vibrant spirit, her unwavering belief in the power of art, and he felt a spark of hope ignite within him. He had lost Olivia, but he hadn't lost himself. He still had his talent, his drive, his ability to build something from nothing. And maybe, just maybe, he wasn't alone anymore. Sophia's words became a catalyst. William returned to his flat that night with a renewed sense of purpose. He opened his laptop, not to lose himself in code, but to create something new, something inspired by Sophia's art and her words. He started working on an idea he'd had for months, an app that would connect people based on their shared creative interests, a platform for artists, musicians, writers, and anyone with a passion for creativity to collaborate and share their work. He called it Muse. Days turned into weeks, and William found himself spending more and more time with Sophia. They'd meet in the evenings, after he finished his freelance coding work, and she'd finished her street art. They'd explore different parts of London, sketching ideas in notebooks, discussing their dreams and aspirations. Sophia's vibrant energy and unwavering optimism were infectious. She pushed him to think outside the box, to embrace the unconventional, to see the beauty in imperfection. One rainy afternoon, while they were sheltering under a bridge, Sophia showed him a hidden courtyard filled with incredible graffiti art. "This is my secret sanctuary," she said, her eyes sparkling. "It's where I come to get inspired." William looked around, awestruck by the raw talent on display. He realized that Sophia wasn't just an artist, she was a curator of hidden beauty, a discoverer of untold stories. He saw the potential for Muse to become something more than just an app. It could be a platform to showcase the talent that often went unnoticed, a way to connect people through the shared language of art. He started incorporating features into Muse that allowed users to share their work, provide feedback, and even collaborate on projects in real time. He envisioned a virtual space where artists like Sophia could connect with people who appreciated their work, where musicians could find collaborators, where writers could share their stories. Working alongside Sophia, William felt his passion rekindle. He was no longer just coding, he was building something meaningful, something that reflected his own journey of healing and rediscovery. He was creating a space where creativity could flourish, where connections could be forged, where beauty could be found in the most unexpected places. And as he worked, he realized that he was falling in love with Sophia. It wasn't the whirlwind romance he'd had with Olivia, it was a slower, deeper connection, built on shared passion, mutual respect, and a quiet understanding that transcended words. He loved her vibrant spirit, her unwavering belief in the power of art, and the way she saw the world with eyes filled with wonder and possibility. One evening, as they were walking along the south bank, the city lights shimmering on the Thames, William decided to tell Sophia about Olivia. He needed her to understand his past, the wounds he was still healing. He spoke hesitantly, his voice raw with emotion, recounting the story of his lost love and the crushing disappointment he'd felt. Sophia listened patiently, her hand resting lightly on his arm. When he was finished, she didn't offer platitudes or easy answers. Instead, she said, "Heartbreak is a part of life, William. It shapes us, makes us stronger. But it doesn't define us. What defines us is how we choose to move forward." Her words, simple yet profound, resonated deeply within him. He realized that he'd been clinging to the past, allowing his pain to consume him. Sophia was right. It was time to let go, to embrace the future, and to focus on the beautiful things he was creating with her. As Muse neared completion, William and Sophia decided to enter it into a prestigious tech startup competition. The grand prize was a significant investment from a renowned venture capitalist, Sir Richard Thompson, a man known for his sharp eye for innovation and his willingness to take risks on unconventional ideas. The competition was fierce. Hundreds of startups from across the UK had applied, each vying for a chance to pitch their idea to Sir Richard and his panel of judges. William and Sophia worked tirelessly, refining their presentation, perfecting their pitch, and preparing for every possible question. They knew that this was their chance to not only secure funding for Muse but also to validate their hard work and their shared vision. On the day of the competition, William felt a familiar knot of anxiety in his stomach. He looked at Sophia, her face pale but determined, and drew strength from her unwavering confidence. They presented Muse with passion and conviction, showcasing its unique features, its potential to connect creatives, and its commitment to fostering a supportive and collaborative community. Sir Richard Thompson, a tall, imposing figure with a silver mane and piercing blue eyes, listened intently, his expression unreadable. He asked probing questions, challenging their assumptions, and pushing them to defend their vision. William, fueled by his belief in Muse and his newfound confidence, answered with clarity and precision. Sophia, with her artistic flair and her deep understanding of the creative community, added a layer of authenticity and passion to their presentation. When they finished, the room fell silent. Sir Richard leaned back in his chair, his gaze sweeping over William and Sophia. "I see potential," he finally said, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "I see a spark of something truly special." But William's heart sank. He knew that, but often meant rejection. "But I also see a vulnerability," Sir Richard continued. "The tech world is a shark tank, and you need to be prepared for the challenges ahead." He paused, then added, "I'm willing to take a chance on you. I'm willing to invest in Muse. But I need to see that you're ready to fight for it." William and Sophia exchanged a look of elation. They had done it. They had secured the investment that would change their lives. But their celebration was short-lived. Just days after the competition, a scandal erupted. An anonymous blog post appeared online, accusing Muse of stealing intellectual property. The post claimed that William had copied the core code of the app from another, lesser-known platform. The accusation spread like wildfire through the tech community, fueled by social media and online forums. William was devastated. He knew the allegations were false, but he had no idea how to prove his innocence. The negative publicity threatened to destroy everything he and Sophia had worked for. Investors started backing out, and the future of Muse looked bleak. Olivia, who had been following William's progress with a mixture of envy and regret, saw the news and felt a pang of guilt. She knew how hard William had worked, and she couldn't believe he would stoop to plagiarism. She also knew that her former colleague, Alex, a ruthlessly ambitious designer at her company, had always been jealous of William's talent. Alex was known for his cutthroat tactics and his willingness to do anything to get ahead. He'd made no secret of his disdain for William, often dismissing him as a bedroom coder with no real-world experience. Olivia began to suspect that Alex might be behind the smear campaign. Meanwhile, William and Sophia were desperately trying to salvage the situation. They spent countless hours poring over their code, searching for any evidence that could prove their originality. They contacted lawyers, tech experts, and anyone who could help them clear their names. But the damage had been done. The scandal had tainted their reputation, and the tech community was quick to judge. One evening, while they were working late at William's flat, Sophia noticed something odd. She was examining the user interface of the allegedly stolen code when she recognized a peculiar design element, a tiny, almost imperceptible flourish that she had incorporated into Muse's interface. It was a unique artistic signature, something she'd added almost subconsciously. "William," she said, her voice trembling with excitement, "look at this. This is my design. It's my signature. They didn't just copy the code, they copied my art." This discovery gave them a crucial lead. They realized that the stolen code wasn't just a generic copy, it contained specific elements that could be traced back to Sophia's original designs. They knew they had to find the person who had access to both Sophia's work and the original code of the other platform. Working together, they meticulously pieced together the evidence. They discovered that Alex had recently been in contact with the developers of the other platform, and that he had access to Sophia's design files through Olivia's company. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fall into place. Armed with this new evidence, William contacted Sir Richard Thompson. He explained their findings, presenting the evidence of Alex's involvement and the proof of Sophia's unique design signature embedded within the stolen code. Sir Richard, initially skeptical, listened carefully. He was a man who valued integrity above all else, and he was not afraid to admit when he was wrong. He launched a private investigation, using his considerable resources to uncover the truth. The investigation quickly confirmed William and Sophia's suspicions. Alex had indeed orchestrated the smear campaign, hoping to sabotage Muse and secure a lucrative deal for himself. He had stolen Sophia's design elements and planted them in the copied code, intending to frame William for plagiarism. Sir Richard was furious. He summoned Alex to his office and confronted him with the evidence. Alex, cornered and exposed, confessed to his actions. He was immediately fired from his job and faced legal repercussions for his actions. Sir Richard then publicly exonerated William and Sophia, issuing a statement that praised their integrity and their innovative work. The tech community, which had been so quick to condemn them, now rallied to their support. The scandal, instead of destroying Muse, had inadvertently made it stronger. It had proven the resilience of William and Sophia, their unwavering belief in their product, and their commitment to truth and justice. The fallout from the scandal had a profound effect on Olivia. She had watched from the sidelines as William and Sophia battled the false accusations, her guilt growing with each passing day. She realized that she had made a terrible mistake in choosing the superficial allure of wealth and status over genuine connection and love. She saw in William a strength and integrity that she had been too blind to appreciate before. She finally reached out to William, sending him a message apologizing for her past behavior and for her association with Alex. She admitted that she had been wrong about him, that she had let her ambition cloud her judgment. William, though still hurt by her betrayal, responded with grace and understanding. He told her that he had moved on, that he had found happiness with Sophia, but that he wished her well. With the scandal behind them, William and Sophia focused on launching Muse. The app quickly gained traction, attracting a vibrant community of artists, musicians, designers, and other creatives. It became a platform for collaboration, inspiration, and the discovery of hidden talent. Sir Richard Thompson's investment proved to be invaluable, providing them with the resources they needed to scale their operations and expand their reach. William and Sophia's relationship deepened, their love growing stronger with each shared challenge and triumph. They moved into a larger apartment, one with a dedicated workspace for William and a small art studio for Sophia. They filled their home with art, music, and laughter, creating a space that reflected their shared passions and their love for each other. One summer evening, a year after the launch of Muse, William and Sophia decided to take a trip back to William's childhood village. He wanted to show Sophia where he had grown up, to introduce her to his parents, and to reconnect with his roots. The village was just as he remembered it, quaint, peaceful, and surrounded by rolling green hills. His parents, their faces weathered by years of working the land, welcomed them with open arms. They were overjoyed to meet Sophia, sensing the deep connection between her and their son. As they were walking through the village, they encountered a familiar figure. It was Olivia. She was pushing a stroller, a toddler clinging to her leg. She looked tired, her once vibrant blonde hair now dull and lifeless, her designer clothes replaced by simple, worn-out garments. The encounter was awkward, filled with unspoken words and lingering regrets. Olivia greeted them hesitantly, her eyes downcast. She had heard about William's success with Muse, and she couldn't help but feel a pang of what might have been. "William." "Sophia," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "It's good to see you." "You too, Olivia," William replied, his voice even. He introduced Sophia to her, and the two women exchanged a polite but strained greeting. Olivia explained that she was living back in the village, helping her parents run a small farm shop. Her marriage to the wealthy businessman had ended in divorce, leaving her with nothing but debts and a broken heart. He'd been unfaithful and gambled away their fortune. She'd had to start over, rebuilding her life from scratch. Sophia, sensing Olivia's pain, offered a kind smile. "It sounds like you've been through a lot," she said. "But you're strong. You'll get through it." Olivia looked at Sophia, surprised by her empathy. She had expected resentment, perhaps even a hint of triumph, but there was none. Just genuine kindness. William, too, felt a surge of compassion for Olivia. He had moved on, but he couldn't help but feel saddened by her circumstances. He knew that life had a way of teaching hard lessons, and he hoped that Olivia would find her own path to happiness. They said their goodbyes, and William and Sophia continued their walk. As they reached the top of a hill overlooking the village, William put his arm around Sophia. "I'm glad we came back," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "It reminds me of how far we've come, and how much we have to be grateful for." Sophia leaned her head on his shoulder. "Me too," she said. "It's beautiful here. And it's part of who you are." They stood there for a long time, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange, pink, and purple. The air was filled with the scent of wildflowers and the distant sound of sheep bleating. William felt a sense of peace and contentment that he had never known before. He had found his place in the world, his purpose, and the love of his life. He had faced adversity and emerged stronger, wiser, and more grateful than ever. He looked at Sophia, her face illuminated by the golden light of the setting sun. He knew that their journey together was just beginning. And he couldn't wait to see what the future held. He had learned that true success wasn't measured in wealth or status, but in the love you shared, the connections you made, and the positive impact you had on the world. And he knew, with absolute certainty, that he had found all of that with Sophia.